Hey everyone, it's C-Wire with the C-Wire Nation. Welcome back to the channel, everyone. Today's video is going to be on something that a lot of veterans now on YouTube are starting to address, and now that I need to address. Stolen valor, and the jackassery that is going on in the social media space with veterans going out making outrageous claims, only to find out that they're all full of shit, and basically shining a bad light on the veteran community as a whole. But before I get into that, if you're new to the channel, this is your first time watching, please hit like and subscribe. It greatly helps me out. I'm a veteran myself, and just help support the channel, share it out with everyone. So with that being said, let's put some rounds down range. All right. So some of you watching this may be just military enthusiasts. You like to hear, different people on social media and on YouTube, talk about the military. And there's a lot of them out there, a lot of them special operators on the special operator side of things. Just to name a few that I watch myself and have built up a respect for. Nate over at Valhalla VFT. He's a retired Green Beret. Actually comes from a lineage of Green Berets. His father was a Green Beret, and he followed in his footsteps. By all accounts, from what I can tell, he seems to be a very upstanding guy. You have Jake Zwig on the Navy SEALs side of things, just to name a few. Now, just so everyone knows, I was in the Marine Corps. If you're new here, I was in the Marine Corps. I was not special operations. I was just regular Marine Corps infantry. I was an 0331 machine gunner. Okay? And I hold a secondary MOS of 0913 infantry combat instructor. That's what I did. So how does this all tie into stolen valor and the jackassery that happens to be going on the internet right now? All right, so you have two gentlemen right now that happen to be in the spotlight. One of them, some of you may already know, Tim Kennedy. Okay? And he has been exposed 100 times over and just continues to spew lies and say outlandish things that anybody who was in, be it if you were a special operator or a regular infantry dude, would hear these stories and just be like, yeah, right. And now you have McPhee, I think his name is, who's now being exposed, lying about his service, although he was in, but he has a checkered past. John McPhee, I think his name is? Yeah. It turns out that this guy's been out there running, around, telling all these outlandish stories, preaching up his service, or churching it up, and only come to find out the Army had pulled his Green Beret tab, and his beret, and I believe this was in 2009, and he got out as a master sergeant, but he's claiming he retired as a sergeant major, and his service, the stories he's telling do not add up to his service records. Not to mention, on the law side of things, it gets even worse. Domestic abuse, domestic assault. We're talking things that, for somebody who especially has been in special operations, you would not expect this type of behavior. You would expect their behavior to be above reproach. Professional, right? That's what we should expect of all our military people, myself included, Tim Kennedy out there blatantly in interviews making up stories on how he, terminated women and children. Like, why would you say that? Why? Now, for those of you who have come across this and maybe thinking about joining the military, I want to put this out there. Do not let these people be the metric by which you judge veterans, or how the military is, or how people are when they come out of the military. I'm going to tell you right now, I did 2 deployments to Iraq, and on both of those, and I came in 2004, so the Iraq War was in full swing when I came. As a matter of fact, I left for boot camp December 12th of 2004. I remember that. Spent Christmas Day at Paris Island. Hell of a Christmas present. In the second year, Christmas Day, running my first combat patrols. Ain't that something? That's why they say USMC stands for You Suckers Miss Christmas. They weren't lying. Anyway, I can tell you right now, we never did, none of our conduct was unbecoming. Nobody in my unit that I know of got court-martialed for anything that they shouldn't have been doing. We definitely did not harm innocent civilians. We didn't do any stupid shit. You know, so don't let these people be the metric by which, you know, you judge military personnel. And I want to say why this is so important, why service members lying about their service is worse than a civilian who acts like a veteran. See, the civilian who acts like a veteran that goes down to the Army Navy store, buys camo and all that other shit and puts it on and goes out to the mall trying to get attaboys and free coffees and whatever the fuck else they're trying to get. They don't know any better, and there's something wrong with them. The veteran should know better. See, that's the difference. The veteran should know better, and it's worse when they do it. Because they above all else should know the sacrifices that were made to get some of those honors, some of those awards, those Bronze Stars, those Silver Stars, Navy Crosses, what have you. You know, they should know what it took to get that, and not to mention, the men that received those awards weren't seeking it. They were just doing their jobs to the best of their abilities, and they took their job seriously, and they did it well. And they were rewarded for it. You know, they got recognized for it. They weren't out seeking these medals. They weren't out seeking fame and pats on. They were doing their job to the best of their ability for the man on the left and the right of them. Okay? You know, and so, you know, when I see, it's disappointing to me being, you know, just a regular infantryman, seeing special operators on the social media space making outlandish claims. And trust me, I could pick up on it right away. You just hear it, and you hear some of the stories like, that sounds a little fishy to me. I'm gonna raise the bullshit flag high in the sky on that one. I mean, if you've been in, you'll know a bullshit story when you see it. It's not a good look. It makes the veteran community look bad. It also could hurt recruiting new people in, because then they'll just think the military is, one, full of animals, and two, that they will also turn you into an animal, which is not the case. A lot of veterans are upstanding citizens, if not most of us are. Most of us are. I mean, there are a few bad apples in there, and unfortunately, they're on the social media space, out there selling books, giving speeches, saying all sorts of dumb shit, and making us look bad. So for those of you that like watching veteran content and stuff like that, and you've come across these people and you're disgusted by them, one, you should be, but I want to remind you, do not let that be the metric by which you judge the veteran community as a whole. Okay? So I just want to put that out there, you know. And as far as people like Tim Kennedy goes, lying about his awards, and veterans that lie about their awards, you know, once again, circling back to that, I think that's, I don't even know how to describe it. That makes me feel sick. I mean, he's lied about valor awards, valor devices on his medals. I could tell you right now, I know Marines that I served with personally when I got to my first unit, 1st Battalion, 2nd Marines Weapons Company, Cap Platoon. There were Marines in that platoon that had a V device legitimately. Now, I think they got that on deployment prior to me joining. I will guarantee you 100% they were not seeking that. They didn't get up that morning or whatever patrol they were on that warranted them earning that. They weren't looking for it. They just got it for doing their job and doing it well. Plain and simple. If you were to look at my DD-214, I have 2 Navy Marine Corps Achievement medals. And on my record, it shows I have 2 Purple Hearts. Now, if you're a military guy, you know if you have 2 Purple Hearts, you wear a device on the ribbon in the medal to denote the second Purple Heart or the second award for that medal, whatever it is. I do not have it on mine. And the reason is the second Purple Heart was an admin error. It was ran twice by accident. It was brought to their attention that this was on my, even long before I got out, said, hey, it's showing on my awards I have 2 of these. I only rate 1. And they said, well, don't worry about it. Just leave it there. You could put the device on it. No one's going to know because it's on your records. You know, who's going to question it? Well, I'm going to tell you right now, any picture that you would see of me, especially the last time that I wore my dress blues in 2012 at the Marine Corps ball, the last ball was at before I got out as a sergeant, you will see that Purple Heart on there without a device on it. Why? Because I know better. It's easy for me to explain how I got the first Purple Heart, but the second one I have to make up some outlandish story. And that's bullshit. I'm not going to do that. Why? Because, you know, that slaps all the other veterans in the face that legitimately have 2 or more Purple Hearts. That got them legitimately, could tell you exactly how they got them. So I'm not going to do that. You know, I didn't get up. I can tell you right now, I wasn't looking for a Purple Heart. Wasn't on my radar. I got one anyway. You know. But I could tell you exactly how I earned that Purple Heart, the one that I rate, you know, for real. And that was, we were on a patrol. Actually, we were going to the border of Al-Qaim, which on the border of Syria and Iraq. Basically, we're like babysitters at the point of entry. We saw the same assholes every day. Well, during this time, this would have been 2009-ish. So right around there, because I was with the Regimental Combat Team 8, and then I was detached to go with a port of entry transition team. We got hit with an RKG-3 anti-armor grenade. They're Russian-made. They have a parachute on them, but they were cutting the parachute so they could just lob them. Look like German potato mashers. And I was the vehicle commander in the last vehicle, which is what they were always aiming for. So, this impacted, which I would find out later, the rear door, the rear passenger door, missing my door by maybe by a second or 2 seconds. It impacted, and of course, all that stuff came in, and I got wounded off of that, and that's how I got my Purple Heart. You know, I'm not going to sit here and tell you it was this outlandish, glorious firefight. We were locked in Mortal Kombat for 5 hours and all sorts of crazy shit. Nope, that's how it happened. That's how it happened. And it was the actions on that day is how I got my first Navy Marine Corps Achievement Medal. Our interpreter almost lost his eye, so I, you know, once I patched myself up, figured out that my limbs were all there, I went, you know, tended to him, because our corpsman wasn't in my vehicle, so yeah, I was the next closest thing. But, you know, that's what I got that stuff for. My second NAM was for the work I did as a combat instructor while assigned to School of Infantry East, Infantry Training Battalion. So, you know, I don't have Bronze Stars, I don't have Navy Crosses, I don't have none of that stuff. And I will never claim that I do. So, for those of you that like watching this type of content and veterans speak about stuff and looking to mentor people, be careful about who you follow. Discern what it is that they're talking about and listen very closely. And if you do, you're going to find out if they're full of shit or not. If they're just telling stories. And what I mean by stories, made up stories. They're fluffing it up to make them look bigger than what they actually were. And to you veterans out there that are watching this, that are thinking about lying about your service or already in the process of doing it, don't. You're making us all look bad. You're making us all look like idiots and Neanderthals. Please stop it. Look, your service was your service. I don't care if you're a box kicker or a cook or whatever the fuck it was. Your service is your service. Be proud of that. Talk about that. You don't have to church it up. Just tell people what you did. If you cooked, you cooked. If you were a supply guy and kicked boxes, that's what you did. If you were motor team, you drove vehicles and you fixed them, that's what you did. No big deal. You did something. You signed a contract. That speaks volumes in itself. You don't have to lie and say that you have all these awards and say that you did things you didn't do and lie about being in places that you never were. So, I hope all of you found this helpful. As I said, I just wanted to put this video out there and just let it ride and how I saw the situation. Anyway, this is C-Wire, Pop and Smoke, out.